That moves us to number 10 on the agenda, the approval of the minutes of the August 19th, 2024 board meeting. Do I have a motion? Mr. Hogan?
I make a motion to approve the minutes of the August 19th, 2024 board meeting.
Do I have a second? Ms. Suttle? Do I have any discussion? Seeing none, I'll call for the vote. All in favor? That motion carries 7-0, and that brings us to public particip. No,
It's okay.
what number did I say?
6-0.
Oh,
It's okay.
6-0,
Just
Ms.
keeping you on your
White.
toes.
I apologize. Thank you. Mr. Hogan? Sometimes we all need a little bit of help. All right, that brings us to number 11, public participation. And I believe we have a couple of people signed up. Before Ms. Taylor brings you up, I just want to read a statement from the board. The board welcomes and encourages public participation. We respectfully ask that you adhere to the procedures provided in board policy BEDH, public participation at meetings. Your comments should be limited to 3 minutes and must remain on either the topic noted on your sign-in form or a listed agenda item. Questions asked during public participation will be handled in accordance with board policy BEDH. Ms. Taylor.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Susan Adams is here to speak about supplemental materials.
Where's my timer? Oh, thank you. I want to add to the discussion that has been ongoing on supplementary materials. I hope that we can all agree that supplementary materials add to the interest and understanding of students as their teachers present information, and it helps to engage the students in learning. So I think that the policy that has been in place should stay. If supplementary materials have to be individually approved, it's going to add a lot of paperwork for teachers and administrators and whoever has to approve those materials. And who is going to approve those materials? Board members. We have great board members, but I don't think you have relevant training in what is age appropriate and exactly what the state standards are. Parents, well, I don't think we can turn over our curriculum to parents. They do have input already. They can go to the online syllabus, and they have the Google Classroom in this district. And administrators already have plates that are overflowing. If requirements change and become intrusive in nature, how will the new requirements be staffed? And are teachers going to get compensated for the time that they have to spend in defending their curriculum? They already spend so much of their own time on lesson plans. And are we going to just say, oh, we can't use supplementary materials? I hope not. I don't think we need to create an answer to a problem that we really don't have. We already have really great teachers, and they are the experts.
All right, Kim Murphy is here to speak about millage rate excess and enrollment.
Good evening. The county auditor has the authority to assess a debt tax sufficient to pay debt service coming due on only its outstanding debt obligations in the next year. In other words, no authority to over levy. However, District 5 has been instructing the auditor to over levy, i.e. essentially overtax, year after year to the tune of over $22 million, and essentially stockpiling this excess tax revenue in a way to keep what appears to be the tax rate higher than it needs to be. It appears that this is also being done to represent to voters that voting yes for a $243 million bond referendum won't increase taxes. That would be disingenuous. Taxpayers have been taxed in advance, number one. Hence the $22 million fund balance. Number two, who is going to pay for maintaining and operating new facilities and new schools in the referendum? Of course, the taxpayers will, but there's been no discussion on these costs to date. I ask that you rethink your rezoning plan to move Ballantyne Elementary and a portion of its attendance area into the Chapin cluster. It will exacerbate any capacity issues in the upper grades, which would set up the district for a fourth school cluster and new schools. Those families affected by the proposed rezoning think that it's a ploy to get them to vote in favor of the referendum, which includes costly school buildings that growth doesn't justify. Speaking of growth, enrollment in District 5 dropped by 193 students. Decreasing enrollment is a trend. 16 of the 22 District 5 schools decreased. 9 of the 13 elementary schools decreased. All 3 of the elementary schools in the Chapin cluster decreased. And Lake Murray and other schools in Richland County will decrease at a higher rate because there's very little development. Back to the proposed last-minute vote tonight relating to the maneuvering of excess taxes paid by taxpayers. By keeping the millage rate higher, it seems that it continues the overtaxing. Does this have anything to do with a potential arbitrage violation due to the interest earned, the income, on the excessive fund balance? I don't know. I'd like to know that. But I urge you to understand what you are voting on tonight, and I think there are only a couple of you that do. And thank you for looking out for the taxpayers.
All right, that concludes public participation.